Selassie, Rastafari, Ross Johannes here. I want to do part 3 here of the Natural Mystic Vids. And this one here I want to do showing His Majesty Haile Selassie and liberation of African people. How the coronation, you see, and when His Majesty was coronated, sparked off a consciousness of Pan-Africanism. I like to call Rastafari RBG, pride, and things that Garvey did. He kind of fanned the flames, but when His Majesty, people in the diaspora in Jamaica, of course, and in Harlem and wherever there was people of African descent in large numbers, said, wow, we have a king, and this king is over the King of England and Spain and so whatever. And it raised that liberation was coming. And His Majesty's time was really the awakening of this like pro-black consciousness in America, the liberation in Africa. You had Nkrumah, you had Lumumba, you had the Kenyan, what was his name? I forgot. But anyways, Kenyatta, Mandela in South Africa. And then, here in the West, in America, Malcolm, Martin, Jamaica, you had the Rastafarians who were able, like earlier I was mentioning about the natural mystic and Bob Marley. Like when here, it's like, well, everybody wasn't sure or know who or what His Majesty was, though they did, but we're not having their alignments all awake. Leonard Howell, Joseph Hibbert, Archibald Dunkley, the early Rastaman, they knew, because not only did they follow Garvey, but they went a step ahead of Garvey by reading the Bible, by knowing the prophecies, by knowing the power that the Bible was, and showing who this great king was. This article is a brief introduction to the impact of Haile Selassie on the world. Now, his Earth Day, which we celebrate on the 23rd, 1892, was the code of reference on how his life would be instrumental in the rise of African people from the depths of oppression. July 23rd was the time in ancient Kemet where the helic rise of Sirius star was observed. Sirius rose in alignment with the sun, making a new year, as well as the annual flooding of the Nile morning of Isis. Hence, Selassie's birth signaled the new year of African liberation. And if you really want to get even further, 1492, when Cumrabus came to the so-called New World, which wasn't new, it was here for a long time, to 1892 is 400 years. 400 years, 400 years. Great song. Was that end of that dispensation. So this was not only the sign of a new year, but also the end of that 400 years in Babylon, wandering in the wilderness. His Majesty broke all these things. He was the touchstone for liberation of African people. And ones, they never forget the words of Garvey, who urged his followers to look to Africa, which, another time we can get into who Garvey got that from, but we won't right now. They saw fulfillment in Garvey's words when Selassie was crowned on November 2nd, 1930 as head of state of an independent African country with rich history recorded throughout the ages. Who could claim direct lineage to King Solomon provoked an awakening amongst African people? Because it showed that there were black people in the Bible, that when ones looked in the Bible, like the early Rastaman, saw Ethiopia, saw Cush, saw that this was the land of the Bible. Ancient Israel was tied to Ethiopia, Amos 7. And know that this great man in Ethiopia was not just some ordinary African leader. No, this was the one that the Bible mentions. And the oppression of African people faced was in effect example of demonic spiritual warfare, where the image of God itself was a depiction of the oppressor, which was global white supremacy, that His Majesty overthrew that image to many. Selassie is an international symbol of African cultural consciousness, released the natural mystic within African people, which connected the image of God, elevated sense of identity and a relationship to land-based, Ethiopia in particular, as well as the entire continent of Africa.